Hello everyone, this is Charlie from the Bloomingdale Public Library, and today we're going to discuss holiday cards using Publisher and Word. So specifically, we're going to start off with Microsoft Publisher, and we're going to create a simple holiday card with a background, images, and text. Secondly, we're going to use Microsoft Excel to create a mailing list. You can do this in Word too, but I think it makes more sense to do it in Excel. And then finally, we're going to use the step-by-step mail merge wizard in Word to quickly move information from our mailing list into a label template for easy-to-print label sheets. Now, usually when I do my courses, I like to explore all the options and menus. This time around, I'm going to keep things on the rails. So if you want to learn more about Word, Publisher, Excel, we have other courses on the channel. So starting off with creating our card, the steps are going to go by first creating a blank publication with the correct paper size. Then we'll create a background, insert our images, maybe add some design elements, and then insert our text. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up Publisher. To do that, I'm going to click on the Start menu, click on All, and scroll down to P for Publisher. You'll notice I'm using version 2016, so if you're using a different version, things will probably look a little bit different for you. On this screen here, I'm actually going to click on Built-in up at the top here. And then on this screen, I'm going to click on Greeting Cards. And here you see a whole bunch of greeting card options. If you see something you like, go ahead and feel free to use it. Note over on the right side here, you can goof around with the color schemes. And you'll notice as I pick one, it changes all of them. You can also change the layout. And if you know your page size, you can screw around with that as well. But we're going to be making our own custom cards today. So if we scroll down a bit, you see the blank sizes here. What I'm going to do is actually use the 1/4 letter side fold. So this is taking a regular sheet of paper and folding it over twice. If you're using cardstock, you can scroll down a bit, and if you see your brand here, you can go ahead and click on that and then search for it by product number. So that'll give you the right size page. So again, I'm going to go back and use the 1/4 letter side fold. And on the right side, I'm going to click Create. And you see here it's telling you it's going to create some extra pages for you. Go ahead and say yes to that. And we're all set to go. So you see over on the left side here, we have 4 pages. The first page is going to be the front. The second and third pages are going to be the inside. And the fourth page is the back. This is all going to print on one side of the paper. The second side is all going to be on the inside of the folds. So keep that in mind. All right, so just to telegraph where I'm going, first I'm going to add all of the various design elements I discussed earlier to the front of the card. In the middle of the card, I'm just going to stick to a background and some text. And then I'm going to leave the back of the card blank. So we're going to start by adding a background to the front of the card. So to do that, make sure you're on page 1 over on the left side here. And then go to the Page Design tab. And then on the far right, click Background. When I click on Background, you see we have the option for no background, various solid backgrounds, and various gradient backgrounds. And these colors are all based on our color scheme. So if you do not like the color options available, what you can do is click on the little down arrow at the bottom right of this box here, and then pick a new color scheme. So I'm going to go with something a little bit more wintry. I'm going to click on Aqua. And now when I click on Background, you see I have a different selection of solid and gradient backgrounds. Just go ahead and click on one, and it'll set the background. Now if you didn't like any of the options available, what you can do is click on Background and then go to More Backgrounds, and we can go ahead and customize things a bit. So again, we have an option for no fill, and then we have an option for solid fill. And now when we click on solid fill, we can go ahead and click on the paint bucket and either choose from the various scheme colors and their tints, a standard color, or we can choose our own custom color by clicking on more colors and then using any one of these tabs to use the color picker. So just go ahead and click somewhere in the box here, move the slider around a bit, click OK, click OK again, and there you go. I'm going to go back to background, more backgrounds. Next is gradient fill. And you can see there's a whole bunch of preset options here. Feel free to flow through those on your own, but I will look at the gradient stops here. So to change your gradient stops, just click on one of the stops, then click on the paint bucket, choose your own color, and there you go. If you wanted to remove a stop, just click on the stop, then the icon with the X on it, and it will remove the stop. If you wanted to add a stop, just click on the little icon next to it with the plus sign, and that will add a stop. Again, click on a stop, then click on the paint bucket to choose your own color, and that's how you would create your own custom gradient. I'm going to go ahead and click OK, just so you can see what that looks like. One more time, I'm going to go to background, more backgrounds, and we have picture or texture fill. So I'm going to do a picture fill for the inside of the card, so I'm going to skip that for now. But you can choose a texture by clicking on this guy here. You can choose any of the available textures and it will fill the background with that texture. And below that we have pattern fill, where you can choose a pattern. And I will grant you these are from a bygone era, but they still have their own charm to them. So I'm going to go ahead, select one of the patterns, and here you choose your foreground and background color to get a different look. And click OK. And those are your various options for choosing a background for your card. Alright, next we're going to add some images to the card. We're going to do that by going to the Insert tab, clicking Pictures, navigating to the folder where the images live. I was actually already there. I'm going to select an image by clicking on it and then clicking Insert. If you hold down Control, you can click on multiple images and insert them all at once, but I'm going to do one at a time. Once I do that, the image is moved to the workspace. So here, if you click and drag near the middle of the image, you can move it. And you'll notice as I do, I'm kind of snapping into certain spots as a blue line shows up. That's a guideline, and it's indicating where my margins are. And honestly, I think my margins are a little bit restrictive. So to get myself a little more space, I'm going to go to Page Design, Margins. I'm going to go from moderate to narrow. It's also worth noting that even though the pattern covers the whole card, only what's within the margins is going to print. So that's another motivator to give yourself a little extra space. Make sure you stay within the borders. To adjust the size of an image, you click and drag on one of the handles in the corners, and that will help you retain the height to width ratio. If you click and drag on one of the handles on the sides, it's going to distort the image, which is fine if that's what you want, but it's not what I want, so I'm going to undo it by clicking the Undo button in the upper left corner. You can also use Control-Z. So I've got it where I want it. Now I'm going to add a frame just to make it a little more fancy. To do that, I'm going to go to the Picture Tools Format tab right here. And then we have a selection of frames. If you don't see the Picture Tools Format tab, it's because the picture isn't selected. So click on the picture first and this tab should become available. So here's our options for frames. I'm going to go ahead and pick this guy here. And if you don't like the selection, you can click on the little down arrow on the bottom right corner and you have a few more options there. So I like the one I've got, but it's a little bit thick. So I'm going to go to picture border, weight, we'll set it to 3. That's better. You also can add an effect if you like. If you go to picture effects, maybe say reflection, click on the middle guy there, you can see a reflection pop up. But I don't want that for now because it's just going to get a little busy. So I'm going to undo that. Okay. So let's go ahead and add another image. Again, I'm going to go to the Insert tab, click on Pictures. This time we'll add the dogs. So I'm going to select it, hit Insert, and there we go. There's our robot dogs. So the image is a little bit wider than the other one, so I'm going to crop it. You do that by, again, going to the Picture Tools Format tab, clicking Crop. When I do that, the handles turn into these little dashed lines. Just roll your mouse over them, then click and drag to where you'd like your crop to happen. You can do multiple sides at once here. Once you have it the way you like it, just click crop again, and there you go. I'm going to go ahead and shrink this guy just a little bit. Add a picture frame to make a match. Again, it was a weight of 3. And there we go. So when you start putting multiple elements on the same page, they might overlap a bit. And if you don't like the way they're overlapping, you just select one, and then under the Picture Tools Format tab, you can click Send Forward and Send Backward. Now if I click Send Backward here, you'll notice the dogs go behind the family instead of the front. You can click Bring Forward, and it undoes it again. So again, just something to be aware of once your card starts to get a little busy and things start going in front of the other. Okay, so one more image I want to insert. I'm going to go to the Insert tab, click on Pictures, and I drew this little snowman guy, and I thought he'd just make things a little more interesting. So I'm going to click on that, click Insert. You can choose to draw your own images and bring them in, or you can find stuff on the internet. You just want to make sure that you have a transparent background so you don't have big white squares following things around. So let's just put one guy like that. And you go ahead and resize them and rotate them just the way you did with the images. No difference. For this guy though, I'm going to right click and copy him. And then somewhere in the workspace, I'm going to right click and paste them. So now we have 2 snowmen. And for this guy, again, I'm going to go to the Picture Tools Format tab, go to Rotate, and flip horizontal. So now they're both facing towards the middle of the card. Keep them within the margins. And that's how you insert images into your card. Alright, next we're going to add some text to our card, and we're going to do that by using either the Home or Insert tabs, going halfway across the ribbon, clicking Draw Text Box, and then clicking anywhere in our work area. You'll notice once we do that, we have 2 new tabs up at the top here. We've got the Text Box Tools Format tab and the Drawing Tools Format tab. One is for the text, the other is for the box, and we'll look at them both in just a sec. So before we do anything else, let's go ahead and add some text. Season's greetings from BPL. And there we go. I think that's a little bit small and hard to read, so I'm going to go ahead and select it all and increase the font size. You can increase the font size before you start typing as well, if that's easier for you. I'm also going to set the font style to something a little more festive. Alright, now that I increased the font size, you'll notice that the text no longer fits. You can tell that because all the handles around the text box have turned red, plus we have this little ellipsis in the lower right corner. If you click that, you're going to get whatever doesn't fit to spill into a second text box. I think that's kind of confusing and wonky, so I'm not going to do that. And instead, we'll either make the text smaller or the box bigger. What I think is an easy way to go about doing this is to go up to the text box tools format tab, go all the way to the left and click text fit. And then select best fit, the top option there. You'll see once I do that, the text is as big as it can be and still fit inside the text box. So it's very handy, and that stays selected as well. So if we were to start increasing the size of the text box, the text grows with it. Very handy. So I'm going to go ahead and drag the text box out all the way to the margins. You'll know you hit it because the margins will light up blue. You'll notice here I have a line, but it is not blue. This is actually lining up with the rightmost part of the bottom image. And that's just a guideline to help you line up your elements. So very handy, but we want the blue line. There we go. There we go. And there we go. Okay. So that looks good, except I don't like the hyphen in greetings. I don't like it carrying on to a second line. So let's go ahead and manually shrink that down so we don't deal with the hyphen there. There we go. And then from here, next to the font styling, we have alignment. We have a bunch of little icons here that show different kinds of alignment from top left to bottom right. I'm going to select the middle one, which will center it vertically and horizontally within the text box. And I think that looks pretty good. Well, the color is a little bit off, so let's go ahead and do something about that. Again, I'm going to go ahead and select all the text here. And then under this A here where it's got a little line that's black, I'm going to click the little arrow, select red, and it's a little bit better. I'm going to select it again, and this time I'm going to go up to the text box tools, choose text outline, and select yellow. Again, a little bit better. I think you get the point there. From here, let's try something else. Instead of goofing around with the text, we'll goof around with the box. So up here, we're going to go to Drawing Tools Format. And we can do Shape Fill. And let's do something like maybe a light blue. It clashes quite a bit, but it's somewhat helpful. Maybe a dark blue. There we go. So we have a whole bunch of options here to customize the text box. One more I'll show you here is if you click this little down arrow here next to the images of the rounded edged boxes, you can select something with a rounded edge. Oof. Alright, so I changed my fill. So I'm going to go ahead and set this back to dark blue. And there we go. So that's adding text to the card in a nutshell. As you may recall, I said I was going to add a simple background and some text to the inside of the card. So let's go ahead and do that as kind of a recap. I'm going to click on pages 2 and 3 on the left side of the screen here. So now we see what the inside of our card is going to look like. And I'm actually going to add the text first because it's easier to see the margin lines before we add the background. So I'm going to click on Draw Text Box. And then because I want the text to be centered on just one of the pages and not across them both, I'm going to click and drag from the left margin to the right margin on page 3. And I'm going to make it kind of tall. Okay, so now before I start typing, I'm going to set the styling to something classy and cursive. There we go. And rather than set the font size, I'm just going to go straight to text fit and set to best fit. Okay? And now to type something generic and happy. So how about may your holidays be amazing! Exclamation point. All right, we'll go ahead and shrink it down. I'd like it all to be on one line. And now to center the text in the box, I'm going to select select the center alignment option in the alignment section. And then I'm going to go to the Drawing Tools Format tab and click Align and select Align Middle to align the text vertically. So there we go. Okay. So I'm going to click away now and set the background. So to do that, I'm going to go to Page Design, click on Background, click on More Backgrounds. As you recall, I had an image set up for the inside background. So I'm going to click on Picture or Texture Fill, click on File, navigate to the folder where the image is. I just happen to already be there. Select my background image and click Insert. Now before I click OK, I would like it to be very light to allow people to be able to write messages on the inside of the card. So I'm going to set the transparency to something very high, so something like 80%. There we go. Click OK. And that's it. So now we have the inside of our card all set up. And from here, all you got to do is save and print. So if you go to File and Print, you can actually see what it's going to look like. You see everything is actually on one side of the page while the other side of the page gets folded up. So there you go. So next we will create a mailing list. Okay, so creating a mailing list. A mailing list is just a list of all the people that you intend to send letters to along with their addresses. And while you may already have such a list, it must be organized in such a way that the Mail Merge Wizard knows what to do with it. So this means ensuring that your list is properly formatted into fields and records. Just to define our terms, a field is a piece of information like a first name or a zip code, and this will be defined by columns in our spreadsheet. And a record is a collection of related information. So in our case, where we'd have a recipient, their address, and any other relevant information, that would constitute a record. So that would be a row in the spreadsheet. While there are several ways to create a mailing list within Word, creating the list in Excel is probably easier and makes more sense. And because of that, I'm not going to be covering how to do it in Word. All right, so let's go ahead and open up Excel. I'm just going to double click on the shortcut on the desktop there and create a blank workbook. From here, I'm not going to do any fancy formatting really. I'm just going to keep it dead simple. And we're going to use the first row for our column headers or field names. And before I do that, I'm just going to stretch these columns out a bit to give myself some room to type. There we go. We'll use the first column for the last name field, and the first name field, state, city, zip, street address. And like I was saying before, you can include other information in this spreadsheet as well. If you're using this for phone numbers and emails, you can go right ahead. It just won't be included in the mail merge. So for an example, I'll go ahead and have a phone number. So just to make it easy to see what I'm doing, I'll go ahead and select the row and make it bold. So if you know people from another country or you have a reason you need to include a second street address field, go ahead and add that too. If you already have a list, that's fine. You just have to make sure that all the information is consistent in each column. So the zip column only has zip codes, the city column only has zip codes, etc. Otherwise, things are going to wind up in the wrong spot on random labels. You also have to make sure that your columns are labeled. I mean, it's technically not necessary, but it makes things a bunch easier. And keep in mind, the order doesn't matter either. So with that all said, I'll go ahead and fill in one or two records, and then we'll jump to the Mail Merge Wizard. So just like that. When you're done with one person, you just go to the next row, start the next one. I think you get the point. So go ahead and finish up your mailing list, and then we're ready to start our mail merge. All right, so let's go ahead and create our labels. To do that, I'm going to go ahead and open up Word by double-clicking on the desktop shortcut. I'm going to create a blank document, and then I'm going to click on the Mailings tab. Now here, if you were going to manually type in the label information, what you would do is click Labels, and then in this section here, go ahead and click on that, and then select the label vendors to whatever company made your label paper. And then below that, select the product number and click OK. Click New Document, and voila. Now you have a nice blank table to enter your label information into. So that is how you manually enter your label information, but that's not what we're doing today. So I'm going to X out of that, come back to our Mailings tab, and click Start Mail Merge. And below that, click Step by Step Mail Merge Wizard. And once I do that, the Mail Merge Wizard steps appear on the right side of the screen. And I'm just going to go through them one by one. Select Document Type. We want labels. So I'm selecting labels and then clicking Next at the bottom. Step 2, select Starting Document. We're going to use the one that's open right here, but we are going to change document layout, so make sure that's selected. Then below that, click Label Options. Once again, we're choosing our label vendor. So this time I'm going to choose Avery US Letter, and then product number 5160. If you were shopping around for address labels, this is one that I've seen around a lot, so I guess that's kind of a recommendation. So I'm going to select that, click OK, click Next at the bottom. Step 3, select recipients. So yes, we want to use an existing list, so make sure that's checked. Below that, click Browse, and navigate to your mailing list. Select it, click Open. There's going to be a pop-up that comes up. If you have multiple sheets in your workbook, make sure the right one is selected. I only have one though. You'll also notice the checkbox where it says first row of data contains column headers. If you are following along with me, then that is the case. Otherwise, if your list does not have column headers and you have this box selected, it's going to turn your record into column headers and you're basically going to lose your first label. So be wary, but we're good. So I'm going to click OK. And then we get another pop-up which shows the list of records in our mailing list. So this is where you would go ahead and uncheck anyone that you didn't want to send a card to. If your list is particularly long, there are sorting and filtering options below, but I'm going to skip that for now. Click OK. And as you see, we have some action on our document now. Don't worry about it. Just click Next at the bottom and move on. Arrange your labels. These labels are for address blocks, so let's go ahead and click Address Block. And we're just making sure everything looks okay here. So this looks good. If you click the Next and Previous, you can see some of the other labels. They all look okay. If things seem to be out of place, what you would do is click Match Fields. And here you have the Mail Merge Wizard fields on the left and your column headers on the right, and you just want to make sure to match the correct column headers with the Mail Merge Wizard fields. So here you see the last name goes to last name, first name with first name. Everything matches pretty okay. I have street address for address 1 and zip for postal code, but Mail Merge Wizard knew what to do with that, so we're good. You can see some of the columns that I did not include. So you have suffix for the name, company address too. So those are other columns you might want to consider putting into your mailing list if that applies to you. So otherwise we're good. If you scroll down, you can see some of the other fields that the Mail Merge Wizard looks for. So I'm going to click OK and OK again, and then update all fields. And once again, some things happen on our document, but don't worry about it for now. Instead, just click Next at the bottom, and voila, things look a little bit different now. So this is step 5, where you preview your labels. I'm not sure why, but we have these forward and backward buttons here, and sometimes you start out in the middle of your mailing list. So I would just come up here, go all the way to recipient 1. That should make sure to show everyone in your list. And you just go through your list to make sure everything looks okay. So you can go ahead and edit things inside the document here. So if you just click where you want to do your editing, add or subtract your text, there's nothing to it. Once you're done with your manual edits, click Next, and the mail merge is complete. From here, you see the option to print is right there. Click on it. Yes, you probably want to print all your records since you've had a chance to audit it several times already. Click OK, and then click OK. So I am actually not connected to a printer right now, otherwise that would be it. One final note, make sure your printer is set for label paper. It's not a huge deal if it's not in most cases, but sometimes your label paper will curl a bit more than you'd like, and inside the printer the labels will start peeling off. It's a matter of heat. So again, you might be okay, but usually to be safe, you set your printer to label paper, and that's really all I've got. I thank you for viewing and hope you have a good day.